Oh, I am so excited. I am looking forward to this one. You know it's going to be a good one. And everyone, welcome back to the channel. I hope that you're having a lovely one out there, whether you're watching at the premiere on a Saturday or you're watching some other day because I'm recording on a Sunday. Welcome to the channel. Long Song Saturday. Today we are doing a full album listen, Siouxsie and the Banshees. We are listening to their 7th studio album, Tinderbox, which was released in 1986. Of course, recommended by you all. And I had the window open. This is so stupid. I had the window open with all your recommendations, or those that had suggested this. And I closed it apparently sometime between turning on my computer and then starting the video. All right, I got you right here. Some of you that had mentioned this particular album, A.K. Colin Fletcher, Chinard, A.K. again, I see you like this one a lot, J-Mac, Sonic Art, Chinard, SB Summit, and SB Summit. So a lot of repeat, not offenders, a lot of repeat suggesters. Let's use that. That's a better term, repeat suggesters. So yeah, we've listened to Siouxsie quite a decent amount here. I don't want to say like an overly crazy amount, but a decent amount here on the channel, and I'm very excited to get back to them. So I'm not going to take too much of your time. Let's just run through the usual. Press the like button if you don't mind, just getting it out the way. It helps a great deal in getting this video to others who may want to watch it, who may be interested. You can support what I do on Patreon for as little as $2 a month, but you don't have to. You can just sit back, relax, and chill. And if the videos are ever blocked, you know that you can just go over there and watch it for free. All you got to do is make an account. You don't need to do anything. You need to do something because you need to make an account. But it's free. I don't charge you. I don't block it in that way. It's just there. Anyways, that's all I have to say. No, let's not make this go any further because I usually do. 2 minutes. We're going to start this album right off in about 2 minutes. Starting off the first track, Candyman. Is this based off the horror movie? When did that movie come out? Let's look after. Let's do it after. Anyways, as always, my friends, I appreciate you being here, stopping in, and this sip of tea with a little cream in it is to you. Great opener. I hope that the rest of the album is right in this vein. This is such a perfect opener. So it immediately throws us into that atmospheric post-punk kind of energy that the band has, which is awesome. This particular track, now it's because I'm thinking of the horror movie Candyman, but it does have a little bit of a suspicious tone to it. And yet at the same time, it has a little bit of a childish, I don't want to say innocence, but there's a childish nature in here, but in the creepy way. I'm talking like less Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, more Damien from The Omen. Right? There's something off about it. And you have those childish things that are in there, the coo, coo, coo. And then the kids in the back near the end, we just heard them kind of la, 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 la. Like it, and even if it's not actual kids singing those parts, it could be just the band. They're singing it and delivering it in a way that kind of brings to mind that. So now I'm thinking of the Candyman, right? Like Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Remember the Candyman? And he was just a guy working in the candy store. So I like how they bring that into the track. The music. Oh, man. The bass line from Steven Severin. From the very beginning. I love it. I love the drumming in here. You're going to have on this Budgie. You have Budgie on here. Just great drumming. I love the heaviness in there, the atmosphere from the guitars. Guitars can be performed by John Valentine Carruthers. Like, it's just a perfect post-punk track that actually, it has, you can clearly tell that the punk side, the post side, and the atmosphere that you're getting from them. And then, of course, I haven't even mentioned Siouxsie herself. Fantastic vocals. I love that one particularly high vibrato note that she throws in there kind of in the middle of the song. It's not like high, but it is noticeably higher than where she sings throughout this one. It's just a really great moment in there. And for a 3 minute, 44 seconds I think it was track, it has a lot of different parts. It goes back and forth, a lot of plays with the structure. Just really a perfect opener. to be honest. I thought that this was a wonderful way to open this album. Let's look at these lyrics here. Sickly sweet, his poison seeks for the young ones who don't understand. The danger is in his hands with a jaundiced wink. See his cunning slink. Oh, trust me, my pretty one. Come walk with me, my helpless one. Candyman. Syrup lies upon your tongue, gelatin saliva spills. A flash of a guillotine, a smile. Like, his smile is a guillotine. So, this Candyman, he's a little bit of a creep in one way or another. Maybe he's a serial killer. And his name is the Candyman. By day, he's, maybe a normal Candyman. By night, he's the Candyman. No pity for him. Their misery screams unspeakable things. No pity for him. Their misery screams unspeakable things. Candyman, a cool missile. Yes, it's in his smile. Like, his smile is like a weapon, a missile, or like it says, a guillotine previously. With open arms to welcome you. Beware the masked pretender. He always lies, this Candyman. Those lips conspire in treachery to strike in cloak and dagger. See. And all the children he warns don't tell. Those threats are sold with their guilt and shame. They think they're to blame for Candyman. Is he a predator? Maybe he's abusing the kids. Maybe I thought it was a serial killer, but maybe he's abusing the kids because he's saying don't tell, which means that they're alive after. Then he says with their guilt and shame, they think they're to blame for him, which from what I hear a lot of from abuse victims, they think that they're to blame for the actions of others, for the abuse that they receive from others, when obviously that's not the case. I think that that's what this is about. Oh, here, I didn't even see I actually didn't even know there was a Wikipedia article for this one. It's released as the second single from the album. The song is about child abuse. There you go. Musically, it's a guitar-based number of distinctive use of arpeggios from Valentine. It's hailed upon its release, saying it was thrilling, big and brash and clashing, combined to form one spirited, unpredictable, yet wholly coordinated outburst. Man, they write so much better than I speak. I mean, they have time to like sit down and like listen to the music a few times probably and think about it. I'm just kind of rattling off the brain. Their words are a little bit more verbose than myself. But this is what I was getting at with the structure. Unpredictable. Okay, for me, it's the first time listening to it, so it's all unpredictable to an extent. But like, you like listening to the structure and the way that it changes, you can really feel like, where is this going? But you know that, as it says here, it's completely one-spirited. It says it became their 13th top 40 hit, peaking at number 34 on the UK singles chart. Love that. Love that. All right, let us move on into... Oh, actually, you know what? I want to look up, when did Candyman come out, the movie? I know that this is not related to it, but since we're down this road, I'm kind of curious. When did Candyman come out? So Candyman came out in 92. Okay, I'm way, way off. Okay, well, you live and you learn. And today we are definitely learning. Moving on to the next track, which is Sweetest Chill. Here we go. Few things. It was leading into this Unrest. A few things. I like how this brings things down a little bit after the first track, but it just creates this gorgeous, gorgeous woven tapestry of these haunting sounds, but pursued with a certain elegance, okay? Siouxsie is singing in this wonderfully dreaming, like, sound. She just sounds like this ghostly siren that is kind of singing and over this, listen to me, over this haunted ghost ship that has this beautiful royal chandelier in, like, I don't know, a grand staircase or Titanic, why not? But it's haunted, it's dead, there's spirits and ghosts in here, and it's beautiful, but it's haunted. That's like exactly the tone I'm getting from Sweetest Chill. Like, I could not help but think about that. Listening to the elegance of the piano when that would come in, it was so cool because it was so rich and gorgeous, but it just, I'm trying to pull up pictures of like kind of the imagery I'm getting. It was just so gorgeous the way that came in. Chandelier room. I need a visual. I need a visual. I mean, it'll do. It'll do. I'm thinking like kind of fancy, like that's. I need more fancier than I need just not just a room with a chandelier. I mean like a haunted room, like a royal room with a chandelier. I think you guys kind of like think this. Sure, Disney's haunted house. This works. Just make it more extravagant. I mean extravagant because I think that what the band does here is just create this really wonderful sound. They have a great way of creating atmosphere in their music. And yes, Siouxsie is a big part of that, but everyone else is as well. The slickness of that drum from Budgie, and that hi-hat, that little flip on the end on the hi-hat is so wonderful. The bass line, along with the guitar there, that main melody, bum, 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 it's so haunting and foreboding of something. And yet at the same time, it's so melodically fluid. And the way that it goes off from there, I think is just genuinely like amazing to want to listen to. I have a not a question, but there at the end of the song, let me pull it back here really quick. Right in the end of the song, the strings, right? Not there. Where was it? There's a moment. You hear the back, the strings, the da 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 da. Okay, that sounds like something to me. What I'm going to show you came much later. By the way, I'm not saying that what I'm going to show you is before in any way coming from that. But I think that I'm thinking of the right thing. I think. It kind of reminds me. Just the notes. Do you guys know what I'm playing? It's too far now. But that little bit, it's the theme from Saw. It's just similar notes. Da 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 da. Like that kind of thing. And it, like I said, it's just creepy, but at the same time so beautiful and kind of, to me, engages my curiosity. It makes me want to like see where it's going. It's like walking down a long hallway and you're like, I don't know where we're going, but I got to keep going, while the audience yells at you like, don't go down the hallway, don't go down that door. This is such a beautiful track. I knew, like, we've listened to Siouxsie and the Banshees on the channel, right? So like I'm expecting quality, and this is, in the first two tracks, surpassing my expectations wonderfully. I'm having a wonderful time with this one. Hearing you in my sleep, feeling you. Your cadence seeps, whispering in flashback the specters of your memories. Fall in glistening showers, such a tender descent. Intones this haunting laments, the sweetest chill. Fearing you, but calling your name. Okay. Icy breath encases my skin. Fingers like a fountain of needles shiver along my spine. The rain down so divine, the sweetest chill. A drowning so sublime spins in a heavenly clime. Calling you, tears thaw my sleep. Wanting you, this hoary web is weaved. From this strange confusion grows a perverse communication. It enthralls me and coils me around. The sweetest chill, oh the thrill. Enchantment ebbs and whirls, the sweetest chill. Could this be about drugs? Hear me out. Just hear me out. The sweetest chill, this drug will chill her, but also it's the thrill. Hearing you in my sleep, your cadence seeps. Like even as she tries to pull away from it, it calls to her, a tender descent. Fearing you, I fear this drug, but it calls my name. It encases my skin like a fountain of needles. A perverse communication, a strange confusion, it coils around me and enthralls me. Maybe. Is there a Wikipedia article on this one or anything? Maybe. I could be completely wrong. Could be. Just doing a control F, nothing for me. Okay. Let's look down. A song about the communication between the singer and his/her dead lover and the feelings she is having while doing so. I guess I could see that. a perverse communication between the living and the dead, I guess. Haunting laments. So, okay, I can see that as well. Now, this is what some people think it's about. It may not be about that, but I can see that. I can see that. A little seance for Siouxsie. A little seance for Siouxsie. All right, let's move on to the next one, which is going to be this Unrest. Is this the longest track on the album? It is the longest track on the album, coming in at 6:21. Let's dive in. Oh, hold on. Let's do this proper. Let's go back to Sweetest Chill. Let the last literally the last few seconds. Like a haunting choir. This is a journey, man. Okay, we'll catch the transition again when we listen to the next track. Correct me if I'm wrong. Listening to this album specifically from Siouxsie and the Banshees, this feels like an album that, as you listen to each song and as you go through the album, I feel like you can continuously pick up on new details every single time. Because the band presents this atmosphere and this sound that is dense but very light at the same time. I can't even think of like an example, but it's light because, well, not light. Well, yeah, I guess so. The atmosphere, it's not heavy. Even when there's heavier moments in the music, it's never weighty, right? But at the same time, it does have this kind of grounding darkness to it. But it's not a heavy darkness. It's a light fog of a darkness. It's an implication of darkness, perhaps, in some ways more than others. Just an album so far that I'm listening to it for the first time, and I'm hearing so many different details in their songs. Like in this one, this Unrest, I didn't even notice. It may have been happening the whole time, but I didn't even notice that the guitar, at one point I mentioned it, but the chords, it was playing like in the background, just as part of the atmosphere. And the panning from it, it started with that first riff on the left, then to the right, and then in the center. And it would keep on going back and forth and doing that. So I didn't even realize it until I actively heard it, that I was kind of being enveloped in their sound and encompassed in their sound, which I think is just a wonderful kind of subliminal effect in the music to kind of draw you in even further. And for this album so far, it seems to be the perfect album to do so. So the production of everything is really, really wonderfully handled. I just want to put that out there. That's just perfect. I think this track is so cool in the way that it's titled This Unrest, and it opens with a restful groove. It's very easygoing. It's very, very light, but then it changes as we get to the chorus and further in, and there is cause for unrest. There is distress in the chorus as it does, like I said, become a little bit heavier, become a little bit more manic, become, more convoluted in not a negative way, but just more is involved in there. So it actually feels like the song is in this state of unrest where it's trying to rest, but it cannot. Think about when you're trying to go to sleep and you can't fall asleep. So you just lay there and lay there. Maybe at some point you go on your phone for 5 minutes. Maybe you I don't know, walk to the kitchen. Then you go back to bed and you still can't go to sleep. That's what this song feels like. And even the way that Siouxsie is enunciating here, it sounds like she's kind of, maybe not anxious, but tired, frustrated. I think she puts that out there so well in her delivery. Like she's trying to achieve something that she can't. And of course, we're still having those same very haunted kind of sounds in here. But I think that she achieves that particular theme in here very, very well alongside with the rest of the band. The drumming from Budgie is sensational. I love the little details that he gets into, like with the hi-hats. I mentioned it during the track, but there's a certain kind of, phasing effect or something. Specifically, you can hear it on the open hi-hat. When he opens and it goes kind of thing. You did hear it sounded like her vocals backwards and then faded in very quickly at one point. So that's what I mean when I said in the beginning of this track, Like, it sounds like there's a lot of details that you would catch on repeated listens. And I like an album, a song that rewards repeated listens with new details and stuff that you can hear. I just think it's really cool. I just think the structure of this track is really cool. Listening to the album, as we're going, the transitions are very well done between the actual songs themselves. So it really does feel like a journey listening to this album, where it has a similar sound to an extent, but each track has definitely proved itself unique from the last. Let's dive into these lyrics. This unrest beats out my breath. Disconnected thoughts jangle in a mess. This unrest crucifies my chest. Without anesthetic, it cuts through tumorous flesh. This unrest beats out my breath. I really think that she's just talking, like I said, about not being able to rest, or in some capacity, maybe not literally like I was mentioning with sleeping, but in some way, her mind, her body, her soul, whatever it is, something feels at unrest. And so, of course, she poetically and occasionally graphically describes what it, symbolically represents. This unrest beats in my chest, discordant limbs watch unimpressed. At the aimless walk, the mindless talk, the pictures leap out and dance for me. They laugh at me. I like how she says they leap out, and at first they dance for her, entertaining her. But then it twists, it turns, and then they laugh at me. As your bitterness closes in, you're feeling very old again, just to sleep without these thoughts, but the angels shout, resurrecting doubts. When you're trying to sleep and go, you have, when you're sleeping, it's typically quiet, and your mind is generally quiet, but she's saying in this unrest, even when she's trying to sleep and rest, and her mind should be quieting down, she says these angels begin to shout, and they resurrect doubts in her mind. And I think we've all had moments like that when you start thinking about the day, or maybe something happened. You're like, did I handle that right? Did I do that right? And then you say, I wish I would have said this, or I wish I would have done that. Here we meet again, my trusty friend, demanding new favors for old time's sake. Inside this captive frame, come and claim your liberty. Metal and flesh will fuse today. These visions jump out and blast my days. Clean away, clean away. I'm not quite sure what she means when she says metal and flesh will fuse today. Because I felt I was on the right track previously. Metal and flesh will fuse today. Let me think about it for a second. Metal and flesh will fuse today. Maybe it's just the first thing that my mind goes to. Is she saying she's going to herself? Metal, a bullet, flesh, herself. Like, these thoughts are getting so overpowering that that's the only way she can find that she can quiet them. Or it could be something completely different. She does, blast my days. Maybe. Could be something completely different. Anything down here? The unrest. Why are they using the disturbed guy? This unrest is about the demon inside of you that wants to escape captivity. See, that's why I don't read these, because even says -6. I walk with my interpretation more so than that. I think that's more what it's about. An internal struggle, this unrest. Moving on. Final track on this particular side of the album, which is going to be Cities in Dust. Let me just back it up real quick to Unrest. I heard how peaceful that was. That just nice little side stick there on the snare. And then, of course, like I said, the unrest begins. All right, let the last few seconds play, and we'll move into the next one. Sounds like tightening strings or water. That falsetto at the end. Easily the catchiest and most radio friendly track on the album so far, but it still excels at what it does. It doesn't sacrifice what the band has been doing. It just gives a little bit more of an approachable territory. The way that that she sings that falsetto note at the very end of her lines in the chorus especially, I think is incredibly satisfying. And Correct me if I'm wrong. It's okay to come at me on this one. I was listening to her voice and her singing in this track, and her singing reminds me a little bit of another singer. Does her voice kind of? I'm not comparing a 1-to-1. This is like a 1-to-5. Does her voice remind you a little bit of Chrissy from The Pretenders? Just a little bit. Just a little bit. I'm trying to hear what it is that I don't know. There's something about her voice that just reminds me a little bit of Chrissy from Pretenders, which is a good thing. I mean, they both sound great. In this track, you're still getting some of the atmosphere that you had before. Like I said, in just a much more approachable and kind of more mainstream way, I guess you would say. The keyboards, you get a few moments in there where they kind of stand out, do a little lead, especially at the end. I don't know, da da da. Can't even do it. But at the very end, as she's going over the last chorus there, I don't think anything in this particular track, if I'm being honest, stands out besides like the general mood of it. I think it's a good song. Don't take my words and twist them. I think that this is a good song. I'm enjoying it. The previous 3 tracks have just been like so up here. This one, I'm even pained to say that it's a notch down because I don't think that it's a notch down. That's why I say I don't want you to take this the wrong way. I just don't think it hits those same high artful marks that the previous 3 tracks does. But I like this one. It's good. It's still good. Hopefully my point came across right. I like the more, I don't know, experimental-ish sides of the first 3 tracks, even though they still gave us something very, very much approachable. This one leans closer to its, I would say, radio friendliness, but it's still very, very good. Hopefully that comes across right. I don't want that to come across wrong. It's just that nothing inherently in my mind stood out overly as the previous few tracks. I really hope that came across right. It's a good track. It's good. I like it. Water was running. Children were running. You were running out of time. That's good. Under the mountain, a golden fountain. Were you praying at the Laris shrine? But oh, your city lies in dust, my friend. Your city lies in dust. We found you hiding. We found you lying, choking on the dirt and sand. Your former glories and all the stories dragged and washed with eager hands. So someone had built this city, and I don't think literally, I think metaphorically. They were all up here, high and mighty. Everything was great. And then their city, it's in dust, it's in ruins, and it's in disarray for whatever reason. And now, they say, you were running out of time. Were you praying at the shrine? We found you hiding and lying in the dirt. Like, perhaps they've scammed people and now they're on the run. They're a fugitive in some capacity. Who knows? Water was running, children were running. We found you hiding, we found you lying. Like, while all these disasters were hiding, or these things that could have been taken care of weren't being taken care of, they were just hiding. Hot and burning in your nostrils, pouring down your gaping mouth, your molten body's blanket of cinders caught in the throes, and your city lies in dust, my friend. Yeah, so this is about someone's self-destruction in some capacity, whatever that may be. Now, I do see that this one did have a Wikipedia article, so let's look at that one here. It says it was released as the band's lead single here. It says it's dance rock, dance pop song. Lyrics describe the city of Pompeii. Oh, so it is literal. Okay. All right, so it is literal. Destroyed in a volcanic eruption in 79 AD. Imagery describes the volcano, its magma chamber. Okay. The lyrics mention the shrine to Laris Familiaris. Okay, so that's what it's all talking about. Okay. Well, that makes a lot more sense than what I was thinking. It says it peaked at number 21 on the UK singles chart in 85. It says that a remix was released in the US in early 86. And it was their first significant success, entering number 17 on the US Billboard Hot Dance or Disco chart as well. Maybe that's what I mean when I say, like, it sounds more mainstream or whatever. Like, obviously it is because it's their first, single and, charted and everything. But also the fact that it peaked on the dance and disco charts as well. Like I said, that is not at all a bad thing. It's a good thing. Right. And that's all here's your single information here. Ireland 22, Netherlands 37, UK 21, and US 17. Let's move on into the next track, the second side of the album, which is going to be Cannons. All right. Usually I do something in the middle of the album, listen to like, you know, see who's still watching and who's not watching anymore. Speaking of Cannons, there used to be a theme park here, related and a part of Disney, called Disney Quest. It was the coolest place ever. Because before, I mean, it was during the time of like video games really coming around and stuff like that, 90s, early 2000s. But it was a theme park, part of Disney, but it was all about virtual technology and virtual reality and games and stuff like that. It was the coolest place ever. I only went there once for a summer camp. But there was this one thing that they had there, which was the Pirates of Adventure ride. Have any of you guys ever been to Disney or anything related? Because we're not gonna watch the whole thing, but like this was so cool. Oh, I need to pull you guys up. You guys can't see. This is Disney Quest. They outside you can't see it because I don't think they show it. But there was like a little roller coaster virtual reality thing out here that you could just like hop in and do like a virtual reality roller coaster. So you hop on this like fake ship, and you have cannons on the sides. You and like, I don't know, 4 or 5 people hop on this ship, and you're in a room surrounded by screens. And it was just the coolest thing. It was one of the funnest memories I had when I was a kid. I did this a few times. You hop on this ship, and here's the screen, and like this guy's kind of scary. And you're shooting cannons. They have physical cannons, and you aim them, and they shoot like at the screen. It was the coolest thing ever. And then like, you know, you're shooting these other ships, and you know, your team, and you like fight this big captain ship. There's even a Kraken. Like the graphics or whatever. Obviously, it's a little dated and stuff, and like, but it was so cool. And then there's this twist where the skeleton ghost that like has been helping you, he betrays you and he sends you to this place, and you have to fight his ghost ship. It was just the coolest thing ever. All right. Speaking of cannons, let's move on into the next track and then the second side of the album, starting with Cannons. Thanks for indulging me.
Screaming fire engine.
It was like an easy entrance into the second side of the album. I love how smooth it sounds. Without trying to be punny, it really does just kind of sail along at like a very easy pace. I really like the guitar from Carruthers. Yeah, Carruthers. I love his guitar here, especially when he gets to stand out with the acoustic sound that you hear strikingly like playing in the back at one point. It's very beautiful. It kind of adds this, I don't know, it just adds a different side and tone to the music at that point. And then the way that I believe it's either him or someone playing keyboards plays that nice lead, that very nice, gentle lead alongside the coast of this track. I think it's just really, really wonderfully done. The mention of cannons in the song is punctuated by, you know, of course, Budgie on the drums and those moments where he kind of bangs it out. And even before they mention it, the way that he hits the toms and hits the drums at certain moments is already reminiscent of cannons. And it really already seems like that's what they're kind of reaching for. So I like this song as kind of like a set sail, a departure on this particular side of the album. It's an easy one into the waters. You know, will there be storms ahead or dark clouds? Who knows? But for now, it's an easy way out. Let's look at these lyrics here. Troubled weather's on its way. Tempests threaten us today. There's no respite from long dark nights, just the fantasy of spring, from the hailstones of summer to a scorching winter land, a frozen death sleep. Then this heat beats down on this bucked land. Flames lit closer to the core from city limits fireball, and in a headless chicken run, race red and screaming fire engines, then the cannons came. Oh, neath the brooding sky, beneath its baleful eye, the cannon shot, the cannon crack, disturbing night dreams. People fled in droves to the lakes and to the shores, left behind a near ghost town, save the life of the cannons resounding. Still there was no rain, no rain, no rain. So, first of all, just want to say, I did a perfect thing when I chose that Disney Quest thing because it's coming full around here. Once more in the line of fire hovers the praying sky. The cannons aim jabs at the eye, heralding the rain. Herald the rain. So it's talking about fire a lot, and you know, the fireball, screaming fire engines. So I view this as a town on fire, being razed, being pillaged, and then they're screaming, heralding for rain or praying for rain, which is also the first track of Massive Attack's Heligoland, or Heligoland, which is really, really good. So looking for some sort of relief. As they say, there's no respite from the long, dark nights. They're looking for some sort of relief from this fire, from this pain, from this onslaught, whatever it is. Now, could this be them talking about a literal event, such as the song about Pompeii? Or could this be a metaphor, which is typically where my mind leans towards? Let's see what this says. Cannons describes the history of a town that was exposed to extremely hot and cold weather. The eponymous cannons were used to call the rain. What are those called? Were they called rainmakers? The machines that they tried to use to make clouds and stuff, like from cloud bursting from Kate Bush. What are they called? I think they had a different name though. I could be wrong, but I thought they had a different name than rainmakers. But so I guess that could be what it was. Like a weather machine, basically, of some sort. Saved the life of the cannons resounding. Still, there was no rain. Like they're perhaps in a drought, and so they need the rain. Maybe that's what it's about. I mean, looking at the weather, fantasy of spring. Okay, so spring isn't here, where of course things would grow and life would be there. From the hailstones of summer, hailstones would kill and beat down any crops. A scorching winterland. So obviously, you know, the weather is all messed up here. And then this heat. So that, I mean, listen, I don't usually follow these, but that actually could definitely be an idea of what it is about. These weather machines and trying to fix this particular place. Anything in the Wikipedia page about cannons? Here we go. The sparks fly on, or this is a review. Sparks fly on the crystal. I don't care about what you're saying. I don't care about what a critic says about the song. I'd rather hear from the band and if there's any meaning or some interesting information or facts about the song. That's what I'm looking for when I do that. But nothing directly from the band, at least on that first look. All right, moving on into the next track, which is going to be Parties Fall. That's when you have a bunch of guests over, you're having a good time, a celebration, a party, a festivity of some sort, and then you're looking at your watch, it's a little past 9 o'clock or whatever time you want them out. It's 9:05 and you're like, all right. You do the old, well, it's getting late, don't you guys think? Man, got work tomorrow. Get out of there. You ain't got to go home, but you got to leave. I like how in this track there seems to be like this growing sense of urgency as it goes on, especially at the end there, where to me the way that Siouxsie's singing, it screams of conviction, and her last lines there are "Don't cry, don't cry." Like it just sounds like she's really meaning and convinced of what she's singing. Like there's a reason for it. There's always a reason for the reason they write the lyrics, but here it feels like there's a reason behind the reason. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And the back and forth between what I would describe as kind of the cool verses with the guitar kind of playing more ambience, and then the way it plays in the second section, which is a little bit more sharper. Even the drums from Budgie, it's a little cool on this side of the pillow and a little hot on this side. So it's like this constant back and forth, kind of in a way like Unrest, that track, in that it goes back and forth between these two modes, and then by the end, it kind of fully combines them and then sends it off. And I think that that's really cool how that's done. Like I said, the guitar work in this one, I think kind of stood out to me. in the way that the playing was ambient and atmospheric and gentle and dreamy to an extent, and then moved into something a little bit more riff driven, and while not heavy, a little bit more edgy. I think is the best way to describe that. And I haven't really mentioned too much, but I really think that Severin's bass playing so well accents all these different movements and really just captures a lot of momentum, and not just playing in a very basic, I don't know, 4-chord way. Like, there's actual movement to what he's doing. There's actual playing and involvement in the way that Severin plays the bass throughout these tracks, which I think is very well shown in this track, which is really nice. The lyrics here. Your parties fall around you, another night beckons to you. Your parties fall around you, another night beckons to you. Shadows look as you resist the gloom. Faded hues issue forth and bloom. A bed of leaves for a lover. Awake with a kiss and rise asunder. And when the party's over, you retreat in a realm of slumber. In your mind, crystal lights rebound, wheels spin round, and you hear the sound of autumn's call at party's fall. Through rose-tinted glass, you still remember the gladness, not sadness, only laughter. In your mind, vicious lights rebound, wheels spin around. So, okay. I think on one hand, this could be talking about a person. I also think that this is, in general, talking about a season. And it could be completely related and connected. So, like, autumn. Symbolically, autumn is the end of summer, nearing the end of life, which winter typically represents death. So autumn is kind of like this transitional period of from life to death, or nearing the end or the backside of your life. As it says, the party's over, the party's fall. So this is that party beginning to wind down, and the guests, metaphorically, are leaving. This could also be not only a party of celebration that the word is used for here, this could also be a party. The people around you, the people in your group, the party is falling. One by one, perhaps as life goes on, your friends, your family, people that you knew are slowly kind of disappearing as you get older, right? So it could be something like that. And then the lyrics, through rose-tinted glass, you still remember the gladness, not sadness, only laughter. You look back on those good times like, not in a sad way, but in a wonderfully nostalgic way, wandering down memory's lane, so to speak. The smile in the mirror grows weaker. The laughter you heard is growing fainter. Like I said, time moves on, and eventually, you grow weaker. The laughter seems so distant now as time moves forward. Glad rags sigh, maybe you're alone. Inside, don't hide, hurting all the time. Don't cry, don't cry. My happiness depends on knowing this friend is never alone. On your own, a party on your own. We'll have a party on your own. Inside, no cries, don't cry, don't cry. So even if you find yourself alone, even if you find yourself lonely, you can still celebrate. You can still have a party. You can still be happy and thrive, I think is what this track kind of comes down to. That's at least how I view it. That's how I read this one. I think it's really wonderfully written. The next track here is 92 degrees. Now, is this 92 degrees in angles, or is this 92 degrees in temperature? Definitely Fahrenheit. Celsius, be burning. Here we go. Okay, Budgie, hold on. All right, 92 Degrees to me is the heaviest track on the album and the most the most urgent song on the. I was trying to think of the other word I want to use. This to me has a big sense of urgency. This to me, it sounds like they're heaviest in stature, in sound, in delivery. It sounds like a constant escalation. Whereas previous tracks had this kind of contrast, and this does show that as well. I feel like this one is constantly building up to something, constantly working its way up to that top of the mountain, up to the zenith, up to that climax in which it just goes off. And I think that that's so cool how it's like, it just feels like this constant escalation and like climbing this particular mountain. The guitar and keyboard work. Keyboards are being handled, by the way, by Severin and Carruthers. So I can't say exactly who's doing what at what points, but I can say that they're both handling the keyboard work in this album as a whole. And I love, as we've mentioned, the different atmospheres and tones that are brought in. But I do think that Carruthers' guitar is kind of the star, did not mean to rhyme, in this particular track. In its ambience, in its riffs, in the back and forth at the ending between the da-da-da-da-da-da-da, that, and then what I can only assume is either some sort of percussive sound or some sort of keyboard sound, and the clink, 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 clink. Like, that was just a nice back and forth to kind of round out the end of this track. And then as Siouxsie begins to kind of sing in the back behind that, as it reaches its final run and its final climax there, I thought was really, really cool. This is like a neat buildup of a song with a lot of moving parts. Budgie's doing his thing back there as usual, even though it seems from the little bit we heard that the transition, he's going to be doing a lot more as we move on to the final track. But I like Siouxsie's atmospheric vocals back here as well. I forgot to mention that. Like, she pulls a lot of weight, obviously, in the foreground as the lead singer, but also a lot of weight in the background in the different vocalizations she's doing, the different, I say, atmospheric work that she does. She's a lot in the light, but also doing a lot in the back with the rest of the band, you know? Not just singing her lines and then walking off stage. She's consistently and constantly involved in the music. All right, looking at the lyrics, did you know that more murders are committed at 92 degrees Fahrenheit than any other temperature? I read an article once, lower temperatures, people are easygoing. Over 92 is too hot to move, but just 92, people get irritable. What temperature is it now? I can't tell. I can't tell what temperature it is. I got it. Hopefully it's not 92. I mean, I can definitely tell you, it does get too hot here. The day drags by like a wounded animal. The approaching disease, 92 degrees. The blood in our veins and the brains in our head. The approaching unease, 92 degrees. Long ago in the headlines they noticed it too, but too late for the loved ones and nearly for you. Shaky lines on the horizon, snaky thoughts invade each person. Watch the red line invade. It's a 78 right now. I was using this. That's what I was looking at before. It's 78. We're okay. Tomorrow, it's getting closer. It's getting closer, man. Watch the red line creeping upwards. Watch the sanity line weaken. The volcanic depths of Hades' ocean bubble under these crazy eruptions. It wriggles and writhes and bites within, just below the sweating skin. So I guess we're taking this, not fact, we're taking this this theory and running with that and talking about murder. Where did this come from? The idea that more murders are committed at 92 degrees came, it's a quote from the 1953 film It Came from Outer Space, where Sheriff Matt Warren says it. While the quote is often repeated, there's no scientific evidence to support the claim. Naturally, I would imagine. So there you go. That's where this is coming from. I wondered when this would happen again. Now I watch the red line reach that number again. The blood in our veins, the blood in our veins. So that's what I guess is kind of capturing the idea of that perfect escalation in the music. As that temperature rises here in the lyrics, the music's temperature is also rising. Drink the water with jagged glass. Eat the cactus with bleeding mouth. Not 91 or 93, but 92 Fahrenheit degrees. And it repeats from there. So that's what this red line, on a thermometer, obviously, would be going up, 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 up. And before you know it, 92. And it becomes the purge out there. Let's move on into the final track in our album listen. Hope you guys have had a good time with it. That is going to be appropriately titled Land's End. Let me just back it up into the final moments of 92. And we'll let it run. He's getting cold, but it's still good. In case you were concerned. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Our full album listen. Tinderbox. This was good. Land's End. Very worthy ending to the album. This track has such a dry, desert-like sound to me. I would say primarily because of Carruthers' guitar, and he just has that kind of arid quality to it. Like, it sounds like it's that kind of dry desert heat that you're like it's kind of suffocating. Not the humid heat that we have here in Florida, but like that dry heat. And like, all right, as someone like in Florida that has, occasionally been out there to the west, like in Arizona and such, honestly, that heat seems refreshing. I remember being a kid and going to Arizona, and like it was like 100 or something over there. And I was like, this feels great. This feels so great. Because 95 or 90 here is just madness, to be honest. And when it gets past 100, oh God. But anyways, so this track doesn't have that humid heat. This has a dry heat to it. And I just love what Carruthers does on the guitar here. Now, Budgie. I got to mention him because the drumming in the beginning, fantastic. And it keeps that going as kind of the bass line, not literally the bass line, but the bass line of the track for at least that beginning section, and comes back to it later. And I think that is just such a wonderful groove that he puts down. It seems to me kind of complicated, but he keeps it up with apparent ease because it works very well. Siouxsie joins in on top of it and just kind of saunters in and sings her way through. The back and forth on Severin and Carruthers, their guitar and bass lines, are wonderful. I love the way that the guitar or keyboard, sometimes I get confused just listening, at certain points comes in and kind of cools off the heat of the track. It feels like a cool breeze that kind of comes through the desert, and it's like finally a little bit of relief, but it's a breeze, so naturally it has to move on. And then we're stuck back into this arid desert and just wandering. And that's what this track kind of feels like, a wandering, a journey at Land's End, or to Land's End. Apparently, I'm believing from the lyrics, like to the sea, basically. Let's dive into that. Come take this hand at twilight's door. I'll meet you there. We'll share the moonlit floor. Through the driving rain, colors run in veins. Ozone fills the air. Two figures disappear. Come, let's take flight. Let's quit this scene tonight. Whilst they sleep on endless in their wicked designs. Sleep on endless in your wicked designs. So first it's their designs, then it's your wicked designs. Moths touched by flame repeat their fatal game. Forever and eternally, the cliffs around the crashing sea. Unsolved and endless. Wait for me. So she's mentioning a lot of different things that are painful, but will continue on for as long as life goes on. Moths touched by flame will keep on going to the game, to their fatal game, to the flame. The cliffs around the crashing sea are unsolved and endless because they would continue to do so. Of course, it's a natural thing. But what is she relating it to? Undulating far below where lucid waters flow, their faces seem to know. Where the land falls to an end, this hidden tale begins. Take a walk with me down by the sea. Then she repeats that. So who is she inviting to take a walk with her? And why is the question. Come take this hand at twilight's door. I'll meet you there. We'll share the moonlit floor. I mean, the two people are disappearing. Anything here? The final track is just like the Sweetest Chill, a story between two lovers that want to meet each other at the eponymous headland in southern England. Is that what it's about? I don't know if that's what it's about, actually. Nothing for me, huh? I mean, could this be a tragic love story? Because all these things are tragedies that will continue on and on. That's at least that's what I get, but I'm genuinely not sure. Now, Land's End, of course, the end of land, beginning of the sea. So this could be the end of one thing, and at the same time, the beginning of another. I don't know. I don't know if the scales are balanced on this one. I'm not sure if I have that right, wrong, or even in any sort of box. I don't know where I put this one, but sounds good. And like I said, it's a worthy end to this fantastic album. Favorite tracks on the album are very, very easily the first three. Candyman, Sweetest Chill, and Unrest. I think that those are just sensational. I love the way that they transition so well between each other. it just feels like one complete work of art in that specific first 3 songs. And you could include Cities and Dust in that, but I really like the first 3 songs. I just think that those are so well done. So intriguing and just so beautiful, haunting, elegant, all the things above. So I enjoyed listening to this album. I hope that you guys did as well. This was fun to listen to. I love when we listen to an album, like, for me, like, it's fun the whole way through. You know, no clunkers on this one. But of course, I would love to know your thoughts. Did you like this album? Did you not like this album? Is this your favorite Siouxsie album? Is it your least favorite Siouxsie album? You can let me know those thoughts and more if you'd like down in the comments down below. Patreon's there if you'd like to support financially. Like button if you want to support non-financially. Share the video. Subscribe if you want. I think that's pretty much it. My tea, I didn't like finish it, but like it's fine. It's fine. We don't need any more tea. Anyways, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much for spending some time with me, for spending an hour and 30 minutes with me. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend if you're watching on the weekend, or the rest of your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday if you're watching in any of those days. Have a great one, guys. I almost said I'll have a great one. I will, but I hope that you do too. All right, bye, guys. What am I doing?